first of all, thank you for coming, you guys. I really appreciate it. Our community conversation for October is going to be at Coonan's. We're going to do a Pints and Politics. We haven't done that in a while. Yep. It's still 11 a.m., but it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Where is it gonna be?
Coonan's off of Mound at about 13 and a half.
Oh, okay, how do you spell it?
That's a great question. Kuhnhenn.
Oh,
Yes.
I think I've seen that sometime.
Yes.
Is it on 13?
It's off of Mound. It's off of Chicago. Mound in Chicago.
Mound, on the corner.
Yep.
Right. I know where it is, yeah, okay.
And we'll have some tokens for you, but they also have root beer for those. It's starting too early.
What day is that, Lori?
It's going to be a Saturday morning also, 11 a.m.
What day?
Saturday, October, hold on. I believe it's the 23rd.
Oh, okay,
I will come back to that.
okay.
Yes, watch on Facebook. I'll create an event as well.
Oh, okay.
Tomorrow, Sunday, September 19th, I will be at Troy Historical Village. My friend, Representative Padma Kupa of Troy, will be hosting a panel on union and labor history. It's a topic that we need to revisit because unlike myself, who has 3 generations of union participation, that's lost to a lot of our community members. And so it's very important to understand that what we have is due to sacrifice, challenges, and people who lost their life to committing to changing social inequity. So as you invited me on, I'm a proud MEA and Fitzgerald Education Association participant, and we'll have several other guest panelists to join in the conversation. September 30th, I will be hosting a Zoom panel on adverse childhood experiences. This town hall is going to address some of the traumas and experiences our kids, our students, have experienced in the last year and a half, as well as some things that adults continue to experience as a result of their traumas, as well as the importance of resiliency, giving everyone the tools that they need to overcome trauma and adverse experiences. So I will have some guest panelists from the mental health profession to join me to talk about what this is and what steps we can take in addressing the issue, but also preventing it. Let's see, in Lansing, coming up, one of the priorities is finalizing the state budget. The state budget is due before October 1st. Michigan is up almost $3.5 billion in revenue. So trying to figure out what to cut is not the issue. Making sure that we shore up any financial needs or supports through COVID. Governor Whitmer and the legislative leadership have announced this week that they've had satisfactory negotiations and they are on track to meet that deadline. So hopefully they'll be up for votes this week and they'll be on her desk to sign very soon. Let's see. Some community events. Just to give you a heads up, Centerline Beer Fest is today, starting at noon at Memorial Park, just around the corner, until 9 p.m. Rock and Resources in Warren is being held at Hallmuch Park from noon to 5 p.m. I'll be volunteering there with the Warren Centerline Prevention Coalition from 1 till 3 p.m. And this is to provide families and students resources around the issues of drug and alcohol abuse and prevention. Lots of stuff happening in the community this weekend. Let's talk the Michigan Independent Redistricting Commission. So we've taken our census, we've got data, and now we need to redraw boundaries for our congressional, state senate and representative districts. I encourage everyone to pay attention and participate. The focus is on populations of interest, making sure that communities that perhaps have been underrepresented have a voice through the representation. And I've watched, they've drawn congressional districts, state senate districts. The lines as they are tentative as they tackle the House 110 districts, and may be revised as they go through those. As a representative, I started looking at the lines for Macomb County, and I'm a little concerned about what they look like, because there's several districts that are being drawn between Macomb and Wayne and Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne that would spread our representation a little thin. So it's a representative's responsibility to make sure that we know our community, our school districts, city councils, as well as the impact on local neighborhoods, communities, as well as state and federal impacts. And as you spread that representation between multiple counties, which expands, multiple cities, school districts, it could impact their effectiveness. And so I encourage Macomb County and voters to take a good look at how those lines impact us. There will be a 45-day public comment period where any citizens have the opportunity to voice their opinion on how the lines look, and any changes that they would like to be seen. I've looked back on my calendar since we last met in August, and boy have I been busy. I had the opportunity to visit Metro Park yesterday, the boat show, to get to learn a little bit more about the marine and boating industry in Michigan, which is the third largest marine and boating industry in the country. I got to see some of the fantastic offerings of Metro Park, and if you haven't gone lately, what they have to experience is phenomenal. I got to go on a bus tour, learn about like some of the historical, ecological, and recreational offerings of our Metro Park. And I also learned that boat repair, marine tech, is in high demand. And Macomb Community College, with as flexible and adaptable as they are, created a training program to, we already fix engines for cars, so taking that and repurposing it for repairing boats. And it's a year-round service that's in high demand, and they just completed their first group, and they're being hired up by surrounding marinas who were concerned that they would have to close because they couldn't meet the boat owners' needs in our community. Let's see. Apologize, jumping back and forth, back to Labor Day. I had the opportunity to walk a picket line with the professors and adjunct professors at Oakland University who are on strike with concerns about their salaries, their benefits, but even more so, like input and as to the instructional standards for the university. And so instead of having those imposed upon them, they wanted to have a voice in how those would be arranged. And that's important to the quality of education for students. So I was proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with them. I was able to go out 2 days, and over Labor Day weekend, they were able to get their contract resolved satisfactorily. Again, last night, the Ford Romeo engine plant is being closed, and that will put about 550 manufacturing workers out of work. These are good paying jobs, middle class jobs that provide benefits. And in a community like Romeo, within a county like Macomb County, this has far-reaching implications. not only workers out of work, but all the businesses they patron, and the workers are asking for Ford to take a look at the plant and find out, is there a way they can retool and repurpose that and keep skilled manufacturing workers at work in our community. Yesterday, I also toured the Macomb Community College dental program that has been newly created to serve or to offer preparation for dental assistants and hygienists. And this program will also serve through the clinical practicals to serve community members to get dental care at a reduced cost, which will really expand access for residents in our community. September 11th, we held our annual legislative memorial at the Capitol. It is a remembrance of September 11th, but it is also a remembrance of first responders in Michigan who were killed in the line of duty in the last year. A somber but powerful event. In the education realm, which it's always in the education realm, I had the opportunity to sit down with legislative liaison at Michigan Department of Education. We are still considering data that has been released about standardized testing for the MSTEP and what it's telling us about the impact of COVID-19 on our students. We know that students receive delayed instruction. You choose the term delayed instruction instead of loss of learning because you can't learn something that you can't lose something that you've never been provided. And I held a teacher roundtable before school started to really hear what their experience was at the end of last year, what their experience was over the summer, many of which taught summer school programs, and then what they anticipate, what are they going to offer going into this school year to help students shore up families, as well as concerns about our educators. So we know that there are short staff of teachers, substitute teachers, and we need to take a look at how are we going to attract future teachers and talent we need and retain those that we have in light of a lot of the stress that is facing the profession today. So COVID created delays in instruction, but we have record U.S. federal Department of Education dollars. And we've seen teachers and students and schools be very innovative. The Federal Department of Education has provided a waiver that they said, we want you to take standardized testing, even though we know students have had delayed instruction, because we want to kind of have a measure of what that is to guide future decisions. At the same time, they told the states that they should not use the statistics punitively against students, teachers, or school districts. And we know that whether it's third grade reading retention for third grade students who are not performing at grade level, teacher administrative evaluations, and school grades, we give schools ratings or grades A through F, that MSU has not taken that federal waiver to waive those for our students and our schools. And it's something that I am working to change. We have legislation in to ask that those be waived for the school year. We know that it's going to take 2 to 4 years for students to make up the learning that they did not receive through the changing conditions of COVID. We want to make sure that the students feel supported, the staff feels supported, the schools feel supported, and they have the resources they need to accomplish those things. Governor Whitmer was here at Van Dyke Public Schools just about a week ago to recognize how innovative that Van Dyke Public Schools has been in addressing COVID issues. They added an enrichment component to their summer program. So in addition to academics, we know our kids need social, emotional, socializing experiences to get them back into that educational experience. And so Van Dyke's teachers and staff stepped up, and they provided those really enriched experiences this summer. Governor Whitmer also wanted to compliment them for taking upon themselves a mask mandate for students. So we know students in elementary school don't have the eligibility to take vaccinations and need that protection so that they can stay in in-person instruction as much as possible. So a big shout out to Van Dyke Public Schools. What a great honor to have the governor to visit and recognize them. Centerline Public Schools, specifically the high school academies, were recognized by Ford as a next generation learning community, which recognizes innovation and instruction for schools. And they were recognized just a couple weeks ago with a red carpet recognition and an opportunity. If you get a chance, go online and visit Centerline, visit some of the videos that they've created to give other school administrators, community members some insights to what they're doing in education. They've created 8 career academies that students can find purpose for their learning, whether it's math, English, science, or social studies, by picking a career pathway and tying their core curriculum in with what their career pathway looks like for the future. And every career pathway has a pathway through certifications, associate degree, or a 4-year degree, regardless of your career pathway. We also had Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist in Macomb County, and I had the opportunity to raise up some issues that we have concerns, and he is looking to partner and support us. I'm part of a work group in the legislature that is looking to revisit the per pupil funding formula to make our funding of our schools more adequate and equitable. And we had a guest speaker from the legislature during when Proposal A was created to talk about what were the conditions that created Proposal A. And then he also, in 2005, so Proposal A was in 1993, and in 2005, he worked with some professors at Wayne State University to look at the effectiveness of this funding formula. And so we're right now gathering facts and information to inform our decision making. I'm a member of the Cancer Caucus. I'm actually one of the co-chairs in the legislature, and they had a lunch and learn on biomarkers for more effective, efficient, and targeted treatments for cancer. So there are a handful of cancers right now that have biomarkers that can help in identifying them, identifying risk, and identifying treatments. And we discussed investing in research to expand those, because we know that with targeted treatment that people can have better outcomes with fewer side effects, which increases quality of life. Let's see. We had a regular check-in with Congressman Levin. We asked for federal government assistance in several areas. We work across levels of government to make sure that our issues locally are heard at a national level. What else is going on? We had some farmers up at the Capitol this week for the annual corn boil, and they had the opportunity to weigh in on farmers partnering with environmental justice and advocating for guidelines that make our farmlands more effective, more efficient, while conserving our land, our water, and our air, so that the runoff from farms aren't going into the Great Lakes and creating problems like algae blooms. And it's interesting how interests come full circle. So historically, farmers and environment have been seen at odds, and the farmers really raised up that they can be more effective and efficient with their natural resources by targeting irrigation and applying fertilizers, which in the end saves them money at the input level and creates more profit in the end. Not to mention that many farmers are still, I don't want to say many, farmers who are family farmers see a future and want to have farms that for their kids to continue that tradition and legacy. So it's important to them to have good environment and land that is still productive. Warren Police and Fire Open House was last weekend. I had the opportunity to bring my niece and nephew along to check out what they had to offer. They had the whole gambit of vehicles from local to county to state. So kids and community members got a firsthand look at what there is. One of the biggest impacts for me was the fire simulator. To be there with a 4-year-old and 6-year-old and, to see their reaction to hearing loud alarms. They had a fog machine to fill the building with smoke, and to see how they react, and then to be able to coach them through what would be an appropriate and response and help families put together response plans. When I was growing up, it was Sesame Street and who are the people in your neighborhood. And these opportunities give kids and families an opportunity to meet our local officers, see firefighters in gear that can be frightening, and start to normalize that so kids have build those relationships. Centerline will be holding their Public Safety Day with Police and Fire October 3rd. If you didn't get a chance to get out to Warren's, I encourage you to join Centerline. Last Friday, I toured the Rising Stars Academy and as part of Centerline Public Schools. Rising Star Academy provides an amazing array of services and training opportunities targeted at students who receive a certificate of a completion instead of a diploma. And that is often students with cognitive impairments, special education services, and it's important that parents and students have those conversations with their school counselors before, starting in middle school about what their future plans are so that they're eligible for a program like this. They provide culinary arts, they have an amazing garden, they have a laser printer, they have a school store that the public can come and get fresh vegetables, gifts, and different products. They have soups and fresh breads, and they actually produce for surrounding businesses. So if you've been at Woodpile lately, I'm trying to remember some of the other businesses that they work with. They provide a lot of their baked goods. And it's amazing because you could drive by the building and not understand what a treasure we have in our own community. Let's see. Working on changing the narrative around the trades and apprenticeships after graduation. So this is a personal passion of mine, and I've really been an outspoken advocate in legislature around this issue. As a graduate in a generation that was told 4-year degrees are the pathway to prosperity, but seeing family members who came up through electricians or millwrights or carpentry, I know that there is financially successful career opportunities. And so our school districts partner and part of co-ops to offer programs, introductory programs to our students. But we need to change the mentality at our community level, family level. I had the opportunity to go to operating engineers facility in Howell. I got to operate an excavator and a hoist. And it was incredible. They talked about how they use simulators like video games to prepare students to apply for the program. And then students right off the bat are learning the essential skills and operating machinery right off the bat, and they're spending time in the field learning the essential needs to be successful. And these are careers that you can earn $80,000 upwards on. And so I continue to bring those stories and experiences back of touring and visiting. We have tons of local trades programs right here in the community. And a lot of times we see high school and middle school counselors who came up through 4-year degrees but aren't experienced and not knowledgeable on how to guide students through apprenticeships and how to do that. So we're working on partnering schools with the trades in order to get career pathways for students. I mean, I still at graduation time visit parties or invited to parties, and I was at a party and the parent was like, my one student is going to a 4-year university and one is apologetically one is going into the trades, and I was like, are you kidding me? A lot of the families who come through the trades were saying that their 20-year-old students have houses and cars and have no college debt. And so understanding that there are multiple career pathways regardless of what your abilities and talents will take you to. I think that covers all my hodgepodge of notes of what's happening in the community, and so I'm ready to open it up for questions and answers. Yeah.
I think it's excellent what you're doing with the trades, being a retired UAW worker. You have a lot of retired tradespeople that still have their skills and would love to probably partner or work with some of the schools in order to help and show maybe some young tradespeople, give them some experience in whatever trades they may be interested in. Just something to think about.
That's a great point, because one thing that trades are having a challenge is if you have people who are in the prime of their career out there on work sites, the desire to come back and work at a school teacher employee rate versus what they could be earning in the fields is one of the challenges. And so one of the opportunities for retirees is when they're done working out in the field to continue and take their knowledge and experience back and to provide those.
Right.
As well as, many schools disassembled their VOTEC equipment and tools in middle schools and high schools, and there's a big push to bring those back. And so in order to do that, you also have to have the talent of people who are coming in and providing that experience.
And at General Motors, we had a recycling program for tools. And what they did was they, as they advanced, they got more tools, they cleaned up their older tools and passed them on to some of the trade schools, because that's another issue. Tools are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have additional tools that you can pass on for a young tradesperson to use, that's a good thing.
Yes, that is absolutely fantastic. And if there's opportunities to bring those back into schools as well, those would be great partnerships to have. Good news is with the Reconnect program, and there's another grant slipping my mind, but it'll come back to me, that provides 2 years of instructional expenses to go on to associate's degree. Well, if you opt to go into the trades, you have the option to help use that grant money to help provide your basic beginning tools as well as covering expenses. Yeah. What other hot topics do we got on? Yeah.
Something we were discussing at our last AEM meeting was, about, like a stipend for student teachers.
Mhm.
And I know that that was something that I believe our president was talking to MEA about. Has there been any, progress with that?
In the legislature, we're exploring a lot of options on what we can do to recruit talent to education, and that is one of the things. I haven't seen a lot of traction in that area, but it definitely would make a difference. So I went to MSU, and in my 5th year of your student teaching for MSU is a full year instead of a semester. It's considered a 5th year, but you're also taking master's level coursework. You're working full time, you're taking education courses, and you really don't have time to work a separate job. So your living expenses become accumulated debt. And so it's one more deterrent to future teachers going to that career pathway versus something that they can use to walk out of the door, start paying down their college debt, and start earning money. So I think that is a phenomenal opportunity, as well as we do scholarship, payback forgiveness programs. So in law and in certain high demand medical fields, if you go work in a nonprofit industry, you can, within 10 years, you can pay off your accumulated student debt. And so it benefits our community by attracting talent to high needs areas, as well as it becomes a benefit, right? To pay an additional income to pay down your debt. So those are some ideas, and always welcome to more, because it is an area that we are in serious need of. Okay, well, we'll wrap it. I will be available if you have specific issues that you want to talk about. Come see me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.